A lot of singles get into a relationship to get to know the person.
Right.
That's the wrong way to do it. You get to know the person and then you get into a relationship. A relationship is not a time for you to start skinny.
So it's during that period of being friends.
Yeah. So your first acquaintances, and then your casual friends, and then your close friends, intimate friends, and then you start courting, right? Get to know the person. Get counsel, please. And don't just get counsel from Mr. Blog. Don't get counsel from quotable quotes on IG.
When I wanted out, 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 when I wanted out of the relationship.
Hi, welcome again to another episode of the When I Wanted Out talk show. I hope you've been enjoying the previous episodes. My name is Teleola Kola-Edun, and today we have a special guest that will be talking to us about respect and submission in marriage. Her name is Ms. Toju Oluwatoyinbo. She's a certified relationship and marriage counselor, certified, trained, and mentored by Pastors Kingsley and Mildred Okonkwo through Love, Dating, and Marriage Academy, as well as being certified as a master marriage mentor by TIMFA, the Institute for Marriage and Family Affairs. She's passionate about helping men and women make better relationship decisions. She deploys her teaching gift as a speaker, inspiring, instructing, and empowering listeners through a myriad of private coaching options, as well as through various public presentations. She's uniquely recognized for the peculiar way she talks about godly marital relationships, with practicality and depth, yet with so much humor. Mrs. Toju Oluwatoyinbo is the author of 2 best-selling books, 0 to 10 Rate Yourself, 10 Reasons You Might Be Wrong About Mr. Right, and Becoming Violet, a story of her personal life from her childhood struggle to become who she is now in God. Her audio declarations for single and married women have been translated into 8 languages, including French, Zulu, Arabic, and Chinese. Mrs. Toju is married to the man beyond her dreams, Mr. Damilola Oluwatoyinbo, and they co-host their love and lifestyle show, Love and Living with Dami and Toju. She serves alongside him at King's, a multifaceted ministry where he's the pastor. They are blessed with 2 lovely sons. Thank you very much, Mr. Toju. I really love your bio.
Thank you so much. Thank you
for coming. Thank you. Really appreciate you coming on the show. So we're talking about respect and submission. Mm-hmm. We'll start with respect. Mm-hmm. What does respect mean to a woman? What does respect mean to a man?
Respect means different things to a man and a woman.
Right.
But I think generally what it would look like to a man would be things like support. How supportive is she of me, first of all, as a person, who I am, accepting who I am, my strengths and my flaws, while I progress into becoming better, supporting my career, my business, my tough decisions, being there, being a confident support. And in that support comes cheering me on. In that support is admiration. Men want to be admired. Men want to know that they're needed. So when this debate comes, even in little things like a man is taking you out, he wants to pay, and all the time you say, no, I want to pay.
Yeah.
It's not because he's trying to show you that he has all the money or not. It's a thing of respect. I want to know that I'm needed. If you can do everything for yourself, why am I here?
Yes.
Right? So every man has a superhero instinct, not because he's even prideful, but because he's created to protect and defend. So it would look like support, it would look like admiration, it would look like acceptance, it would look more practically like things in your tone of speaking to him, especially in public, not running him down inside or outside. Those kind of things look like respect to a man. If he's a little more traditional, it would look like serve me my food. but those are more personal than general examples.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And to a woman, I think it's a bit more about affection. Letting me know that I'm secure. I think a woman's primary need, in a sense, is security.
That's right.
Security can come in different forms, but generally security. So she wants to know she's secure. She wants to know she's the only one. She wants to be affirmed. She wants you to spend time with her. Sometimes it might not be in the longevity, but the intensity and the quality of it. Right? She wants to know that you're there for the children. Being there for the children makes her happy. Sometimes it can look like helping around the house, even though we have staff to do it. And sometimes we might not even have staff. So help me, don't let me do it by myself. So for the woman, I think it's more of affection, attention, and help.
Attention, affection, and help. And for the man, it's support, admiration, and acceptance. Okay. I just wanted to make sure that we're re-echoing what you said. And what does submission mean? Because you see, a woman will come and say, my husband expects me to respect him, you know, but it feels more like I'm being subjugated, you know, or oppressed, and you don't respect me. I said this, you didn't do this. I told you to do this, you didn't act, you know. So what is respect vis-a-vis submission?
Permit me to go backwards.
Yes.
And this is maybe more profitable for people who are not married yet.
Yes.
But more so even for people who are married. So sometimes it's not even the man's fault. Let's not lie.
Okay.
Sometimes the woman needs to backtrack.
Okay.
She needs to give herself a reorientation. She needs to adjust and tweak some things here and there. And you realize that it's not even that deep, that things are fine. So, first of all, for a single woman or someone who is still waiting on the man or who is courting, you have 100% right, authority, and the ball is fully in your court at that point to choose the man you're going to submit to.
Okay.
To choose the man who is going to be making decisions for your life, for you, with you, through you, whatever, right? You have that right. And this goes through time of you observing him, his character, not just with you, but with other people in different scenarios. So sometimes when people say, oh, they've only dated for 3 months and they're getting married, I'm like, you don't know this person.
That's right.
There are exceptions to the rule, but like I always say, we don't play by the exception, we play by the rule. If now God help you, you're now the exception. All well and good, right? But you don't know him. If you guys have been doing long distance for 2 years, 3 years, even if you're Skyping, or people don't use Skype anymore, sorry. FaceTime, whatever, every day. But you haven't had real-time face contact with this person. You don't know this person. You're most likely getting married to a stranger.
Yeah.
And it will take you time to build that again.
Right.
So you need to observe this person over time in different scenarios. You need to observe this person's character. And like I tell people, you don't get married with just information. You need discernment as well. And that's a totally different
conversation
for another day, right? And so you ask yourself, am I satisfied with the way this person makes decisions? Does this person listen to me? Does this person listen to other people? Is this person accountable to anybody else? When this person is at a gridlock, what do? Do they shut down? Do they throw tantrums? Do they make irrational decisions? What do they do? So if you haven't seen the person you are courting in a hard time, in between, what do you say, deep blue sea and a hard rock, don't marry the person yet, right? So watching the person's patterns, not even just one-off, so it's happened twice. You need to see some patterns. You need to know what governs their mindsets and their decisions. Then you can now say, okay, I can do life with this person. I can see your flaws, but I can handle these ones. So I can see that you're making progress towards growth. And then you come into it. So we now answer the question, what is submission? My husband explained it to me many years ago, and I think it's the simplest thing that has stuck for me. It's sub and it's mission. So sub is under. We have submarine, we have subway, it's under. You're coming under a mission. So what is the mission of this home? And it sounds very, when we say marriage is spiritual, people don't believe us. They don't believe us. So what is the mission of this home? And the thing is, the mission is not even the man's mission. So a man that is shouting and subjugating his wife has already lost his way. Because you are submitted to the person who has given you a mission. It's not your assignment. It's not, you're the one that crafted it. God has given it to you, right? And so you're working it out with the partner that God has given to you. So if you understand the man's mission, so after you've observed his character and all of that, can I submit to this? Fine. The bigger question, can I submit to the mission that has been given to this man?
But would you find that a lot of men don't even know the mission for their life or the mission for their marriage?
Absolutely.
So how do they discover it? Because it looks like a lot of homes are working clueless.
It's again why they say things like premarital counseling is super important. And while I'm a pastor as well, so I'm all for go for your church counseling. Even in my private coaching practice,
yes.
When are you doing your church premaritals? Because there's a system that operates there, and this is a church that is going to be, in charge of your spiritual life. So you need to align with that, and both of you should be hearing the same thing. But I also realize that in group settings, like it is in most churches, they're not able to really pick out personal and individual. So when I come and ask them, what is your purpose, auntie? What's your purpose, uncle? What's the purpose of the home? And then we're now trying to articulate and bring it together so we know what we're working with. And when we know what we're working with, we know, okay, we can't be fighting about this because this is very relevant to the home.
Right.
Even if I'm angry with you, I know that God is expecting something that is more than us.
Right.
We settle fast. We look for a way to settle it. I'm sorry. You are sorry. You vex me, Sha. I vex you. But the mission. And so that's why I always say, your marriage is not just for you. People get divorced easily because the marriage has become for them.
So can you give me like an example now of a man with a mission? What was his mission? And how did the woman kind of align with that? Because sometimes to articulate a mission, I feel people are struggling. I mean, I've spoken to so many people and it's like, one, maybe God really isn't the foundation of their home. They are both Christians, quote unquote.
Right.
They may go to church, but the character does not speak of people that are submitted to God. So then it bothers down on what does submission to God look like for the man? How does he develop that mission? What is an example of a mission that the home can have?
Okay. So even if you're not a believer, even if it's not a God-given thing, if you will, whatever it is, it must be something that both of you believe in and is bigger than just the both of you, that you're willing to live for.
Okay.
But under God is something, that's why we always say develop a personal relationship.
Definitely.
These days, people don't want to go to church. They say they can see God by themselves in their house. But there are things that will only happen in a corporate gathering. How focused are you when you're watching church online and your 100 notifications have come in and you've tapped out so many times and you've missed some, salient points in the message and stuff like that, right? So it's from that constant fellowship and devotion with God, day in, day out, not just when there's pressure, when there's a problem or when you need a breakthrough or a miracle, but building it continuously. Now, when you're now in a relationship with someone, you begin to pray about these things together, share with the person, this is what I feel God is saying. You might not even have the full picture, but this is what I think, this is where I feel. And the way I know God, he might say, let's do this. So I'll come to my story. And, you start building on that together. And with the one you start from there, but two cannot work together except they agree. So you must agree. So for example, in a nutshell, without going into too much details, I know my marriage is supposed to raise kings. Kings are kingdom influencers.
Right.
In nations, generations, and systems. And we both do that through teaching, through training, and through preaching. And so when I met my husband, he is a consultant trainer. I was a teacher. I knew there was a speaking thing here.
Yes.
And I know that all our speaking and training was tied into, okay, how can we relate this thing to people's eternity, people's character? People say there are so many churches in Nigeria, but Nigeria is still like this. There's something wrong. We haven't discipled them. So we started seeing that, okay, there's something going on here. Right. So whether I'm teaching as a school teacher when I used to work 9 to 5, or I'm doing marriage counseling now, or I'm a pastor at church, or I'm training consulting for banks and firms, we know what we're built.
So you're both aligned in that mission.
So it's easy for me to submit.
Right, because he understands, you understand, and it's like, okay, I mean, this is what we're called to do.
Exactly.
Okay, so it's easy. Well, I really love this. This is kind of exciting, and I hope you're clearly beginning to see what it means to submit. You are, like Ms. Soju has explained, under a mission. I think that is insight. That is powerful, such a powerful statement. But we're going to go on a break right now. We're going to come back to go deeper on how practicality of respect and submission.
When I wanted out, when I wanted
Welcome back to our little episode with Ms. Toju Oluwatoyinbo. We're talking about respect and submission. So, to go deeper on the issue of submission, is submission only expected from a woman in a marriage?
Absolutely not. So according to the scripture that the men like to quote in Ephesians 5, the verse just before the verse that says women should submit to their husbands says, submit one to another. And this is not even just necessarily in a marital relationship. I'm supposed to submit to you as unto God. You know something better than me. I should submit to that knowledge that you have. Be willing to learn. Be willing to help. Be willing to... It's the concept of putting others first.
Yeah.
Right? I let you go. Let you enjoy. Let you be blessed. I sacrifice myself. Right? Which is what Christ did anyway. And he humbled himself unto death.
Point of death.
Right.
Yes.
He was bigger than all of this.
Yeah.
He humbled himself unto
Yeah.
death. And I always say, John 17 says, Jesus says to the Father, the Son has glorified the Father. I've done everything you asked me to do. I have submitted to you completely. Now glorify the Son as the Son has glorified the Father. So I tell women, see, the reward for submission is glorification. It will come if you do it right, and if your husband is doing it right as well. It's glorification for both of you. So it's not just for the woman. The woman is instructed to do that. There's a particular reason she's asked to do that and the man is asked to love, but it's certainly not just for
the woman. So how does a woman now, because, in this case, I heard a story of a lady who, all these years she had given birth, had to stop her career, just to raise these kids. I think she had like 5 or 6 kids.
It's a lot of kids.
It's a lot of kids. So the dad was forefront. Financial, making the decisions. Mom is supporting with, let them go to this school, let them go to that school, let's give them the best, But dad is the one really financing the home. Now dad suddenly passes away, and then mom is left to figure out, well, what do I do now? Now the kids had graduated, everybody was out of the house, and mom lost dad, and dad is the one in the house with her, So looking for a smaller place for her. Now, what does she do all these years? Maybe the eldest child is almost 30, and it's like, what do I do now with my life? And in having a conversation with one of the children, she was like, this submit. I don't understand. My mom didn't do anything. And now she's trying to figure out her life. So how does a woman balance? What is the right balance between submission and asserting herself? Like, okay, I need to go and do something for myself. I need to be financially stable, or, have something where I'm doing and I feel fulfilled doing it. Because now she seems to be lost, but looking for her way now, to figure out how to help herself. So.
You see, again, let me go back a little bit. Submission is not in any way supposed to hinder anybody or the marriage. If anything, it's supposed to make you progress faster. I always tell people, if we just copy and paste the relationship between Christ and the church, we'll get this thing right. So when you submit to God and you obey what He has asked you to do, I know our Father God is not a wicked God.
No, He's not.
He's not domineering. He's loving. He's kind. But still, there are times He asks you to do things that you're like, God, this thing don't make sense. Like, it don't make sense.
Yeah.
But you do it. And sometimes it's in retrospect, you see the benefits of it. Sometimes your joy comes and your peace comes.
Right.
Sometimes in your obedience, you see the miracles, the signs, the wonders, the breakthroughs.
Right.
And all. But that was because of submission. And that's what it's supposed to be in your marriage.
Right.
Because the husband is submitted to God and you are submitted to him, it's a beautiful flow.
Right.
But listen, I'm going to say this. Even if the husband is not doing what he's supposed to do,
right?
In marriage, it doesn't work by, if my spouse is not doing what I'm not going to do it.
Yeah.
That's where we miss it.
Okay.
Right. And that's a totally different topic, because that might not become a battle. It might become a long journey. But you don't win by coming out so fast. You don't win by giving up. You don't win by giving fire for fire. You don't win by throwing down fire and brimstone. It's never going to work. This is when they now say, oh, a man he has ego, he's prideful, he's this. The ego and the pride that God put in him is to protect you. Right? And so if you now put fire on it, it's going to burn you rather than nurture you. Right? So when this, coming back to foundations again, the man is supposed to be a groom and a farmer, which is what Christ did for us.
That's right.
Teaching.
And a bridegroom. You groom your bride.
That's what it is.
Yes.
You're supposed to cultivate.
Yeah.
And if you read through the Bible, there's so many parables about God being a farmer, God going into a land, finding pearl, good seed, thorny ground, and all of that. So the man is actually supposed to teach, which is where what the Bible says Christ is washing us with the water of the word, cleaning us, refreshing us, so that he can present us back to himself, a church without spot, blemish, or wrinkle. So all the training and teaching and pastoring and Holy Ghost thing and everything that Christ is pumping in us is so that he can give us back to himself and say, wow, see my bride.
Beautiful.
So that's what the man is supposed to be doing for his wife, teaching her financially, mentally, spiritually. He's supposed to pour so much into her that she can stand by herself, right? So she's not supposed to take the lead in the home, but it's supposed to come from him. That's what the Bible says, from the head of Aaron down to the beds and down to the skirt.
Okay, so if we're going to even just talk scenario-based, young couple, both of them fending into the home. They both split the bills. They're both supporting the home. And then the husband makes a decision and says, this is the direction we're going to take, and it's final. And the wife goes, why would you consult me? Why don't you respect me? Why would you go behind me when you know we're both in this together? How does respect and submission look like in this scenario? Because she's saying you don't respect me. He's saying you're not submitted to me. The direction we're going. You know,
right? So let me start from the woman who likes to hear before I come to the other side. How much you bring into the marriage, even if you are in quote the breadwinner of the family as the woman, has absolutely nothing to do with you respecting your husband. So the fact that you bring the same amount or more than he doesn't mean that you must tell me
we are on equal.
Must show me the ledger, show me the account. Yeah, and we'll say it. God's instructions have nothing to do with location and have nothing to do with your bank account. I was going to say universal, but it's even more than universal. That's what it is, right? But second of all, because it's also a partnership, if it becomes a pattern whereby the man is always not involving the woman, then there's something wrong there. Okay. So he's either having bad influence, or he never really loved her in the first place, or she has allowed it over time. But now that she's in marriage, she thought that now that I'm wife, I'm now inside the house. Dear, the one you not do before, I'm not going to start doing it now, right? And then there are also times where, and this can be in both ways, there are also times where God has told your husband something, but he didn't tell you because it's not for you. You're not the head. You're not the one that saw, you're not the one that heard, you're not the one that smelled, you're not the one that he spoke to or spoke through. So you understand. So you have to trust the decision. And even if you don't understand it, this is the head. If things go wrong, God will take it up with your husband, not with you. Right. So God will cover you. What you need to do is cover your family, pray for your children, pray for your husband, and submit to it.
And submit to what he said.
Yeah.
But I would have to go back to the point you made about there being a mission. So it's clear that the husband himself must have a relationship with God.
Absolutely.
So that has to be stated and overstated.
That
you as the man, as the woman is submitted to you as the man, you the man are submitted to God.
Absolutely.
So a man that is submitted to God would understand what it's like, or expectations of submission to him.
Exactly.
I think many men miss that.
Many men miss it, and a lot of women pamper them into it. I hear a lot of men, even now in their 20s, in their 30s, their 40s, my mother used to pray for, I'm just going to marry a woman that'll be praying for me.
Yeah.
And you too, you'll be going from vigil to vigil.
And your husband is at
all the prayer links and thinking you are doing wife material.
Now, in the instance where we talked about it, the man and the man in the marriage is the one that is placing so much pressure. Now he's the one that makes all the money, right? And so that's why I needed to clear that up, was that a man has to be submitted to God. Because if you're submitted to God, you will know how to act to your wife. Even if you're the one making all the money, you're telling her that I'm only going to disburse only this much to you. And she's telling you it's not enough to cover the finances of the home. And it now becomes a back and forth. Then we talk of the women that are the ones controlling the finances of the house. And then it comes like, my husband has nothing to say. I'm the one heading the home. I'm the one, well, not heading, but I finance the rent. I finance the children's school fees. So there is a level of frustration that comes with a woman taking up that burden.
Yeah.
That makes it difficult for me to say, you are now telling me what to do. If you went out and brought some money, maybe I would agree with what you're saying.
You know, and you see, God really needs to help us. A lot of things are really warped and twisted now. This is my personal opinion and what I've seen from scripture. If a woman is continuously over a long period of time bearing the financial load in the home, she's going to break at some point. She's going to feel frustrated. She's going to feel burdened. Right? But if a man is paying the bills and everything else in the home is fine, he wants to do it.
Right.
He wants his family to be good. He wants his wife, his children to be happy. But when it's the other way around, it's a problem. So if that has to be the case, for whatever reason, maybe the man has lost his job or some unfortunate incident has happened, it really helps when the man is supportive, loving, calm, helpful.
Helping with the children, helping with the household.
And I always tell people in a marriage, money is not the only currency. If you're bringing in wisdom, if you're bringing in insights, if you're bringing in ideas, if you're bringing in prayers, if you're bringing in support, making much out of the little you have, your spouse will love you, honor you, cherish you. I mean, you hear people, I don't really want to mention names, you hear people who tell stories of when it was my wife that gave me the first 100,000 naira for my business. When I had nothing, her father did not want me to marry her. And today they will do anything for their wife.
Yeah.
So money is not the only currency in marriage. So let's not make it bigger than what it is. Give it the power that it really doesn't have.
So in wrapping up now, we've unpacked respect, we've unpacked submission. What is your advice to single ladies now who want to go into marriage? One. And two, advice to those that are currently in marriages where the husband oppresses them in the name of submit, or in the case of a man where the wife is running the show. So 3 levels. What is your advice to them?
Singles, like I started with, please get to know. A lot of singles get into a relationship to get to know the person.
Right.
That's the wrong way to do it. You get to know the person and then you get into a relationship. A relationship is not a time for you to start skinny.
So it's during that period of being friends.
Yeah. So your first acquaintances, and then your casual friends, and then your close friends, intimate friends, and then you start courting. Right. Get to know the person. Get counsel, please. And don't just get counsel from Mr. Blog. Don't get counsel from quotable quotes on IG. Don't screenshot. That's like low level.
Yeah.
1 level. Get proper professional counseling, because there are things a third party will see that you probably never thought about. There are questions a third party will ask that you've never thought about, and they will help you excavate things that are deep within, that you now come face to face with your realities. Can I deal with this?
Yeah.
Right? And so you're not making decisions sentimentally or emotionally.
Practical.
Last, some people will still do what they want to do, Sha. But we will do our part. So that's what I advise single people. Single people, last thing, get rid of the mindset that marriages these days don't work. Don't get into marriage like that. Last, all men are. Last, all women are. What you're doing is you're creating an escape route in your mind. And once you get into marriage with last, men will do this. You have a back door.
Yeah.
And when the opportunity comes, you will take it.
You will take it. Right.
So there are good men, there are good women, there are good marriages. To the man, who should I talk to now? The woman
who is in an oppressive marriage. The husband is always constantly submit. You're not submitting. You know.
Well, if the worst comes to the worst, let me start from the worst case scenario where you feel like your life is choked. Maybe it becomes physical, becomes emotional. It's over time. Like my mentor would say, the covenant of life is better than the covenant of marriage.
Right.
You have to leave, even if for a while, to get your sanity, to get counsel from him, to get help for him, to see if he will change or become remorseful. Please do that. However, before that, I'm a big advocate for doing everything you can before leaving your marriage. So it's going to be a tough journey, and it's not easy to hear, but you made a decision to marry this person. So
you have to deal with
take the responsibility.
the consequences.
Don't whine, don't blame, get on your knees first of all and pray, because sometimes some of these things saying no be really your husband, no get sense, na devil they press button. And so you need to really pray things out.
Yeah.
Right? And then God begins to tell you, act like this, act like that. This is really not the issue. The fact that he's angry is not the issue. The fact that he has a childhood trauma, deal with that. Right? That's one. Number two, get counseling. Even if your husband doesn't want to come for counseling, go for counseling yourself. There you get reprieve for your soul. Because sometimes you just want to vent, especially as a woman. You just want to cry. You want somebody that will say, he did this, and it makes you feel like this. Yes.
It's just like empathy.
For the relief of your soul, do it. And you read books, you get to know, okay, my husband is like this because of this, so let me act like this so he won't act like this. Not everybody is mad. People behaving like this is because of something. Like they say, everything get why. So find out. And then if you also look inwards, maybe you too, body to they prepare you. You too, maybe you're too hot-headed. Maybe you too, he's been telling you something that I like this, do this with me, whether it's sex, whether it's talk to me in this tone, whether it's been more accommodating to my mom. You two tweak a little bit. And hopefully with a combination of those three things, there will be some reprieve.
Right.
For the man who feels like his wife is running the show and then she wants to call the shots and all of that, I'll say same thing, pray, get counsel, but I would also still say stand your ground.
As a man.
The fact that you don't have money, the fact that doesn't mean you're not the head. God doesn't recognize her as the leader, he recognizes you. So stand your ground. Be firm as much as you can. Don't let them push you around. Don't let her family push you around. And teach your kids, because your kids can pick up the vibe.
And even pick up the energy.
Exactly.
And that's what they're going to replicate.
Exactly. So put your foot down. You too, if you're not helping, bros, help. If you change diaper, you will not die. Your father did not do it, but you're not your father.
Yeah.
Right? Like I said, money is not the only currency.
There are other things you can do in the house to support her.
Yes, and make her feel seen, heard, loved, appreciated. So that's probably what she's looking for.
Right.
Yeah.
Just showing her that I'm here with you. I may not have the money, but I have the.
Yes.
I can do this.
Yes.
Yes. Thank you so much. This has been so insightful. And I do hope that you were able to learn a thing or two. I'm sure Mrs. Toju is very happy. She does counseling, she does coaching. If you have further questions, you want to know more about something, you need that premarital counseling as a single person. She keeps telling you need to have that counseling.
Absolutely.
She does have private coaching, so you can reach out to her. I will be happy to facilitate that introduction for you if that's really what you need. I do hope that you've learned and you're going to be willing to put some things into practice. Thank you again for joining us. We look forward to seeing you same time next week. Bye-bye.
When I wanted